Welcome to the Untold Story Told podcast. Today, we share a deeply moving story of extraordinary maternal strength and spiritual resilience, the story of Moien's mother, whose unwavering faith and indomitable spirit transformed a harrowing wartime escape into a testament of hope. In the darkest hours of Kuwait's invasion, when countless families faced despair, it was her profound spiritual connection and fierce maternal love that illuminated the path forward. With remarkable courage and wisdom, she took the wheel both literally and metaphorically, guiding not just her family, but an entire convoy of refugees from Kuwait to Pakistan. Through her ingenious creation of the long picnic, a gentle shield to protect her children from the harsh realities of war, she demonstrated how a mother's love can transform trauma into adventure, fear into hope. Her unwavering will to persevere against all odds, her deep faith that sustained the family through endless desert roads and uncertain borders, and her silent strength that carried not just her own children but many others to safety, embodies the profound truth that a winner is just a loser who tried one more time. Join us as we honor this remarkable woman whose spiritual fortitude and maternal courage turned what could have been a tale of despair into an inspiring story of faith, resilience, and the transcendent power of a mother's love.
Welcome to the Untold Story Told podcast. Moien, how are you today?
I'm doing good, alhamdulillah. About yourself?
Good. We're really happy to have you on the podcast. It's been a while since we've had a podcast with you. You were on Untold Story Told podcast. We talked about your journey as a RJ and what you think about life. And we went into a deeper space of the Untold Story Told, where we discussed about how it is to be a person who gets inspired by people who are inspirational and how important it is to have mentors in your life. There was a part that I feel we really needed to touch base on, and that was the story of you, right? How did it all start? Going from Kuwait to Pakistan, which I think is very interesting. Personally, I don't know any friends who had a journey where they had to travel from Kuwait to Pakistan at such a young age. And I remember vaguely you mentioning how your mother was a big part of that journey. So let's just start a bit with that journey of how it all began for you, Moien.
Thank you for that amazing intro. I'll just actually start from the start. So I was born in Kuwait and I was brought up over there. I was born to a Pakistani family, in a Pakistani family. My dad from Lahore and my mom from Kashmir. So it was a very different sort of a connection that they had. And then when I was born, we were brought up over there along with my three other siblings until the war. The Kuwait-Iraq War was very famous back in the late 80s and early 90s. So when we were growing up, and I still have those fond memories, I used to feel at that time was that this is the life which I think every kid deserves. Having a proper schedule, going to school, having good memories and making new friends. And life was going really smooth in those days. And then we were fond of visiting Pakistan back and forth at least once a year because my dad was from Lahore, so he really wanted us to feel the culture, understand where he's from and where our mom is from, and then meet people back at home as well. So when the Kuwait-Iraq War started, I actually didn't have much idea that we're going into a situation, not as a family, but as a country, that this is going to be something that it's not going to look nice. And I still remember things were getting very tight in terms of finances and getting food around. Big malls were shutting down. Slowly and gradually, the situation was getting in a chaotic way almost every day. And it was just getting worse. So the family that we had over there was me, my siblings, my mom and dad, and my uncle, my dad's brother, younger brother, and three of my mom's younger brother. In our country, we call them Mamu. right? So this was the whole family that we had over there.
Mhm.
The rest of the other Pakistanis were there too. There were Indians, Pakistanis, and people from all of the culture from different countries, from Philippines and from US even as well. So I remember we were living in a flat. We used to live in Fahil. Fahil is I think you can say it's like more of a hometown for me in Kuwait.
Mhm.
Fahil used to be like where I was growing up. And I remember when things started getting worse when it comes to the war side of it. So my brother was like just 7 months old, literally 7 months old.
Mhm.
And then what happened exactly was that I started to have like feeling that the air outside of the house is not nice anymore. It's not friendly anymore. It's kind of like creating a lot of tension, and hence things are not going in the right direction for anyone living in that country. Eventually, we left that flat a few days before when we were planning to leave the country.
Mm.
So my dad never used to drive. He had a background of being in the travel and tourism industry, and he worked there for more than 40 years. So he literally knew the map on his fingertips along with the lat and along values that used to make difference and getting the direction right and where exactly we need to go and where are we crossing the roads and the paths on the map. So he never drove because he had an accident when he was young back in Pakistan, and from that point onwards he never drove again. He had this thing that he never wanted to drive again, and hence my mom had to be the one having a proper driving license at that time, and her brother, our mamu. I remember we actually left our building and then we went to our father's friend's house. And we were sleeping that night, and we were trying to sleep, and I could hear soldiers marching outside, literally. And wherever is required, we were listening to a lot of gunshots and all of that stuff. So it was pretty scary for us. I couldn't sleep. I remember that whole night. And I remember the very next day in the afternoon, Dad and his friend, they just rushed in and said, we got to leave right now. We don't have any other option. And then in a huge hustle bustle, we just tried getting anything that we could actually, and left the whole house like that. And the only transportation was available through vehicles, any type of vehicle that would do.
Yeah.
And then we actually just set off our journey to Pakistan.
What was the choice of vehicle for you?
Yeah, great question. So my dad actually bought this car from a guy who was just selling it off for like 50 dinars, Kuwaiti dinars. At that time, it was a two-door Datsun Turbo Nissan, sports car, older version, but it was a manual, and we had to leave, and we had to actually get out of the country with anything that we could actually have. My father had less choices to actually make or select out of the options that we were left with. On the other side, my mom's brother, he was having an automatic Toyota with him at that time, and it was full option car. So we set off our journey in those two cars, the whole family, me, my brothers and sisters, mom and dad, my uncle, and my mom's brother. So this is all we were, and we just took off.
How old are these kids we're talking about? Just to give perspective of the age group.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
My youngest sister was 5, and the second sister was, I think, 3.5 years old, and my youngest brother was 7 months old.
I'm understanding that this was obviously a very big impacted moment in your life, because as a 7-year-old, you're recalling every detail. Is it also because you had this deep connection with your family and you understood the meaning behind it?
Yes, absolutely. And I think I had a very deeper connection with the country I was born in.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I still feel the love for that country. Why? Because it's my birthplace. I can't change that fact. It's natural.
Hmm.
Um, though I love my country, but at the same time, the country where I was born in Kuwait, I still feel that connection. Anything that pops up about that country just gets my attention right away. And I used to ask the same question to my dad.
Hmm.
And he used to say that, hey, you know what? It's always going to happen because it's your birthplace. And any birthplace is connected with you. Wherever you go in the world, it's always going to be that connection with that soil,
Yes.
no matter what.
Yes. I was reading the other day that wherever we are born and whatever's happening in that country at that time also, like the overall human condition at that time, is also affected in terms of when someone is born in the country at that time, you pick the energies of the environment too. And it's just not that because you're born there, it's you opening your eyes and your whole soul, your whole body, all your cells stand ground that this is my place. And so wherever you go, we still feel a pull, a magnetism to where we first opened our eyes or came to the world. And so that's the birthplace. So yeah, that's a beautiful connection there, right there.
Absolutely, 100%. And adding to what you said, it is definitely a spiritual connection. I think it's always going to be there. I cannot change the fact wherever I go, I still feel that connection everywhere. Though I live in a different country, but at the same time, I'm always looking forward to hear something really good about what's happening back in Kuwait. So, yeah, and then, how my parents were bringing us up, they always wanted us to feel secure, to feel safe. And they never wanted us to be in a panic situation. Never wanted to make us feel that we're actually in a situation where we're not having much of a choice or options. And only option is just to leave the country as soon as possible and just save our lives.
Yes.
And I remember it was like early afternoon, and when we were driving, and we kept on driving for 2 hours, and I kept on asking my mom and dad, like, where exactly are we going? And they kept on saying that we're going on a very long picnic. So you gotta prep up for that. And I was like, I heard about the picnic part, but long picnic, I don't understand. And they kept on just telling me that it's gonna be a long picnic, so just gear up for that. If you want to rest, if you want to sleep, go to sleep. And then we kept on driving until it was dark. And I remember we started actually just crossing borders. If I actually try going back and then try to see that where exactly we exited Kuwait and then which countries did we cross, I think that will take immense amount of time. But the memories that I had was, I think overall, if I have to say, it took us good 25 days to reach Pakistan.
You went through multiple borders and countries, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And along the way, at one point, we had to cross the Iraqi border as well.
Was that the toughest?
That was the toughest. That was actually the toughest.
Why was that the toughest?
I think the toughest part was that, so here's how I'm going to try to paint the picture. When you're crossing a border and in a vehicle, normally they check your passport and all the documents that you might have, if you're eligible, if the vehicle is on your name and stuff like that. But when we reached after that border, we just saw cars. A long queue of cars, and we literally couldn't see the edge of the border as well. Right? I mean, if I have to tell you roughly, maybe hundreds of cars in two queues, standing right on the border. And I don't even remember, and I can't even recall that which number our vehicle was in terms of the queue standing. But we were way back in the queue, way back, because we joined in very late. And then we met a lot of other Pakistani and even Indians as well, because everyone was like just trying to run for their lives, and there were like a lot of families over there. And why it was tough is because of the fact that they didn't open the border for 1 week.
Oh.
So imagine you're just living in the car for a week,
Oh.
right? And it was tough. I mean, imagine kids and adults having no facility of restrooms, no facility of kitchen whatsoever. I mean, and how it used to be like, okay, so these were like two queues, right? And there was just cars. So what we all did was our cars were like just jam-packed bumper to bumper. And then what we were doing is that all the older people, they actually took, massive amount of clothes out. And then they try to make a curtain or maybe like a little bit of shelter out of those clothes by just combining all those clothes and just trying to knot it up from one car to another so that they could actually have a shade to sit under right on the road. Right. And that was our play area. That was our living area. That was our drawing room or dining room or whatever you want to call for at least a week or two. And it was tough. Later on, after so many years, when I asked my mom, and she confirmed me that it was the thing at that time, whichever country we were actually crossing the borders, all of them, they were given a heads up from the government side of Kuwait that there are people who are trying to save their lives and everything. So if you can facilitate them with anything that you guys have, we would highly appreciate that. And thanks to all those countries at that time, which were just like near to Kuwait's border, and wherever we crossed, they literally, when they used to hear that we're just a Pakistani family and just trying to reach Pakistan by road, and they had this minimum amount offering that, hey, this is something that you can actually use it for your kids and family, and you can buy food and stuff. And obviously we had nothing in our hands. We were coming with nothing, barely saving our lives. And along the way, those countries actually helped us out. And I remember after a week or so staying on that border, I think my mom and dad, and along with other people, they just went to the border and they requested the authorities over there. And then I think they actually had an application or something, or it was just like a small form where you just write in Arabic that what exactly that your requirement is. And it used to go directly to the higher authorities at that time. And if it's signed back, then they used to actually just open up the border for a little while. So that happened. And then they opened up the border for 2 hours. And imagine they were opening the border for 2 hours every day out of 24 hours. And we still couldn't make it out because obviously there were hundreds and hundreds of cars standing in queue. And obviously everyone had to switch on the engine and then try to pass through and gather all the things that we can at that time, because obviously that place became our play area, our little home just right beneath the skies.
I'm just thinking from the point of view of the kids, and I'm thinking, to have to go through something like that must be tough. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But the way they painted the uncertainty to you is beautiful because of the narrative your parents portrayed, saying the long picnic. I think everyone can relate to the recent COVID pandemic when there was a huge overall universal uncertainty. And I think those who were able to take it with a little bit of like painting a picture of everything will be okay, even though it looks bad, were able to move a bit more ahead than those people who were not able to be resilient enough to think that, things can get better or we can bounce back. And I think it's not to do with who thinks like who. It's just What makes us into the humans we become, that when a situation comes, who can be the helpers and who are the seekers of the help? Do you feel, even though this is too deep, somewhere in your life or in your siblings' life, having had that experience, you have felt that has helped you be more a step ahead of friends, of people, to become the helpers rather than not knowing what to do in uncertainty?
Yeah, Saleh, great question. I think when I saw my parents literally leading the pack, and when I say the pack, we started out with just 2 cars, and along the way, it became a convoy of 10 cars, right? And we were leading from the front. There were different families, all from Pakistan, and we just had one aim to just reach safe and sound onto the country that we wanted to live in, and to survive in. And along the way, I saw my parents, especially my mom. I actually believe she was the real hero of this story. She never asked for any rewards. She never had a day off. And I feel that it actually just took the best out of her. And it is a very famous saying, it happens to the best of us, when we are actually just put on a challenge. And we as a family, we suffered, definitely, considering the fact my youngest brother was like literally 7 months old in my lap. And my mom was actually driving right from the front. As I explained, that my dad never drove again because of that accident he had in his early age. So I used to just see my dad opening up the map, and my mom just kept on driving for 16 hours straight drive without any breaks, right? And then later on in life, I might actually just kind of fill in the feelings and emotions back and forth, because after so many years later on, when I tried asking my mother that how did he feel at that time, because we were kids, we didn't know what they were going through. We were just on a long picnic, and we didn't know that what challenges or the roadblockages that they had at that time. So I used to see my mom literally going from family to family and trying to ask everyone that if they had food on time, if their kids are doing fine. And my dad was trying to lead the pack for the guys, just trying to give them directions that how we got to make our families more safe as we are advancing towards our destination. And I saw my mom literally like holding up kids of other families when they were sick and just trying to take care of them. Like, imagine a woman who's a mother taking care of 4 kids, taking care of her husband and her own brother and the brother of my dad as well, and trying to take care of other 10 families that were then associated with us because of that journey. How much a woman can actually do, a mother can actually bear, how much patience that she could show. I think it's beyond imagination what God actually gave in terms of this amount of patience and things to bear, and then literally to keep on advancing and moving on. I feel it's truly commendable. And I used to ask my mother when she was alive a few years ago that I really want to actually make you sit in front of the camera, and I want to make a documentary out of this. And she used to say that, why would you like to do that? And my answer was always simple and straight, that Mom, I think a lot of girls who are in their teenage, who are young, and who are moms, newly moms, or having kids, I think a lot of women actually, they might need to hear your story. They might need to know what you've been through, and you came out as a warrior.
Yes. Yes.
And she used to just smile at me. She was like, hey, I don't know if anyone would be interested. And I used to say, Mom, you have no idea. In this world at the moment right now, where so much is happening, the world that we live in now is totally different where we used to live like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, for that matter. Times have changed. People technology and the perspective eventually. When we were growing up, mental health was not even a topic, not even a subject. And thank God now when we talk about mental health of us all, I mean, now it's more discussed and more appreciated because,
More accepted.
and more accepted, of course.
Yeah.
And people never used to actually talk about it back then because it was not even considered as something that is important. I'm thankful to a lot of people that they actually just try to make sure that this is accepted and this is actually talked about now because it's just super important, and especially for women around the world who actually go through a lot. And when I actually say this, I say this because I saw my mom fighting those challenges like anything. And I'll tell you what, along the way, along the journey that happened, there was this one time we were crossing border of Iran as well.
Mm.
And we stayed there for, I think, 4 or 5 days. One of the biggest things that happened with us, I still remember that night, we ran out of money, we
Mm.
ran out of food, everything. And it was some occasion. And because of that, all the hotels were closed down. Nothing was open. All the markets were closed down, each and everything.
Mm.
And it was just in the middle of the night. And the men who were leading the pack
Mm.
had no idea what to do. I mean, there were kids who were sick, people who were not able to just take some maximum rest.
Mm.
And again, we were just on the move. So out of nowhere, this guy actually appears driving a scooter with his kid on the back. And this guy was like in his 40s or something, I guess.
Mm.
And he just came up to my dad and he was like, "Hey, are you guys looking for a space to live or
Mm.
spend a night or something? Can I help you guys?" And my dad actually explained it to him. And this guy took us in his house right away.
Mm.
Imagine 10 families. And he took us under his roof and
Mm.
he opened every door of his house for us.
Beautiful.
Um, and he had a few kids as well, along with his wife. He literally had 2 or 3 rooms, I guess.
Mm.
But he opened his house, he opened up his roof for us, and he said to my dad that live here as long as you want.
Mm.
And I remember we spent good 4 days over there.
Mm.
And when I look back, my mom, she never knew what his name was. I have a vivid memory of his face and how he used to look. But I do remember that he was a professor in a university over there at that time.
Mm.
And he took us in and he gave us space and he helped us so much. And my mom, till the day she passed away, she used to pray for this guy and his family.
Yes.
And she said that I don't know his name and I don't know where he is now,
Mm.
but every time I pray for this guy as well.
Mm.
And I really pray that he keeps on doing what he did to us. He made us feel safe. He gave us food. Anything that we required, he just exceeded expectations. We were not even able to, the men of the pack, again, why I just keep on going back and forth saying men of the pack is because they were leading and they couldn't find anything. And along came this guy and had a great memory over there.
When you get such role models in your life at a young age and you see that being someone like he was, where he opened doors and he let this whole family in, wife, husband, children, so many needs and so much happens in those days of having someone in your house, to just open the doors and saying, this is your place, and then actually letting you just feel safe and feel like, you are actually taken care of. Whatever word he gave to your dad, he acted upon it. That's such an important thing for us growing up to watch, because it conditions us to believe that it's possible to do it for others. He showed it to all you kids. He showed it to your father. He showed it to your mother. That your mother felt that she naturally wanted to remember him in the process of praying. See? So
Exactly.
I think as humans, it's so important to connect with each other in this open arms way. And I really wanted to touch base with the mental health part. You said it so beautifully, that your mother, this warrior woman, does this exemplary move from Kuwait to Pakistan. If you think about it, you said she was a driver, but to me it was coming as the driving force. Like she was the driving force of the family. When she was put in a situation, she stood up for you all. And your father was there too, but she was the driving force. And there's so many women whose stories get unsung, they don't get seen, and they are the unsung heroes. And the reason I bring your mother forward in this too, and I love that you spoke to her about it, is because years before I did get into all this coaching work, I created a film, and the idea was to show the story of the women in Afghanistan based on their connection with the children and the hope they give to the children. And in this particular scenario, there was this mother who tells her son that despite what's happening outside, like he can hear the bombs, he can hear the gunshots, but when he wakes up in the night, she looks into his eyes and tells him that everything is going to be okay, that they're going to be green gardens, that they're going to be beautiful moments, and that it will be okay. I think it's a good understanding for the listeners and the viewers too, to know that it's very important to put ourselves out there for others.
Absolutely. I think I was really young at that time, and I didn't know what she was going through, and when my dad or other people who were just tagged along on the journey with us were going through. I mean, through thick and thin, and how things were not going in our way sometimes. I remember when we left, and then we were crossing another border, another country, not specifically that I remember the name of, but I do remember that it was just a place where we stopped, and there were only 2 rooms available. And again, when I say 10 families, at least minimum of 3 people, either a daughter or son, or and mother and father. So these were like 10 families tagging along with us, and we got this 2-room hotel. I think only 2 rooms were available, and we had to fit 10 families in there. And then I remember my mom, she used to say that it used to be so hard for her to drive continuously, like 10 hours or 12 or 16 hours straight, that she needed a break for like at least 5 minutes just to regain her focus, because these were roads which were never ending. And the amount of fear that you carry with yourself, and the paranoia that you have that anything can happen at any given time because of certain situation and uncertainty that at that moment. And then you're having your kids with you, and then you have a responsibility of other 10 families. And we reached this hotel, 10 families trying to fit in 2 rooms. And later on in life, she told me that she was literally mentioning this memory that, do you remember where, we stayed there? And, I was like, hey, yeah, Mom, I do remember. So there was only one night that we had to spend, and then we had to leave the next morning. She said that I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated to the level I just needed a splash of water on my face, and that's all I needed. That's all I wanted. And she said that after the whole day, when everyone slept, I went to the restroom and I opened the tap and there was no water. Right. She said that I got so frustrated and I started crying like anything. And she said that I never told or shared this memory with anyone other than myself. And I asked her that, why did you do that? Why didn't you, literally share this with at least Dad? And the thing which got me literally emotional when she said that, I didn't want your father to feel weak. I didn't want him to feel that I am breaking down, because I wanted to be that rock for him. And that's how I did my best. I didn't want to feel vulnerable. I didn't want to show him that I am fully frustrated and out till here and I can't do this anymore. She said that I just had my time there. I came out of the restroom, wiped out my tears, and I said that, okay, let's move on. The one best thing that she used to say, it's the will that drives you through the finishing line, always. It's the willpower and the only power that you have. And that willpower is definitely connected with your creator. She used to say that whenever I used to get frustrated, I just used to close my eyes and just have a conversation with God, even when things were not going in our way. And there were moments where she couldn't say anything. She couldn't share. It's not like she didn't want to share it with my dad. And she knew that he's going to understand and he's going to definitely encourage her. But at the same time, she had an idea that there was so much on his plate and there was so much on her plate.
Yes.
And she didn't want to overburden him by starting her own mental health issues, which she was going through at that time. And, I was very emotional by listening that. I told Mom, you could have actually shared with anyone. She said that till this date with you, I'm just sharing it now. I'm sharing it, Saliha, with you and through this platform as well, that she never shared it with anyone because she didn't want to make her, she didn't want to actually display that sense of that, okay, she's done, she cannot move ahead. And she just wanted to show everyone that I'm still here and I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm up for it. And I'm going to get you guys through.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's truly beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. The fact that you've not shared this before, we really do appreciate that. And as I have my hand on my heart, what's coming to me right now is that, again, the driving force is also a metaphor for your mother. That literally she was a driver who drove you all, but then she was always that, like she would keep the family okay at all costs. As you tell me about the part where she was looking for water and she couldn't find water, just to splash it on her face, and that's all she asked. And the frustration of it, but she bottled it all up because she knew that if she went down, then this ship goes down. And many women don't share a lot with the people around them because they feel that if they become vulnerable, then everybody else will become weak in a way. And it's just the way women do things when they are put in situations. But with your mom's story, what's the most unique and beautiful thing that's coming forward is that the only part that kept her from not sharing with her husband or the person that she could depend on, right? The only other adult that, her friend, a companion, or someone that she could just talk to, she kept that also inside herself because she wanted him to be okay, because she knew he had a good and soft heart, and she did not want him to feel that she is giving up, because she was not going to give up, because if she gave up, then everybody was going to, in her mind, fall down. And I think that decision was very tough at that point. Very, very tough for her. And she wouldn't have done it in a very ideal situation. I think there's a lot of inner struggles that get unseen when we look at people from so afar, like from a telescope view. When people are going through a lot at a layers level inside, and to never look at a person and go like, I know what they're going through because, I know what their children do or their family financial situation is or how, they talk to each other. We never know what people are going deep inside. And, it's that place. It's that place where we can look at a homeless and be like, yeah, I can be a homeless person one day. To see yourself as humble as I will not judge that homeless person, let's say, because I never know how my narrative can flip and I can be a homeless person on the street. To walk with that. And your mother didn't just walk with that. She talked the talk. She walked the walk. And that stands out in her warrior way of being, the driving force.
100%, Saliha. I mean, it's something that I used to tell her that, hey, you know what? I'm not even close to what you're made of in terms of your strength and in terms of your will. I'm not even close to you, Mom. And I wish I could actually be that. And I feel that the struggle never ended there. I think till the day she passed away a few years back, it was just a continuous struggle for her. I literally saw her in some sort of a test every day, literally every day. Earning for your family and for their livelihood is something that every parent is actually ready to sacrifice anything for, when it comes to their kids and when it comes to their livelihood. And I saw those moments where, they're just fighting about something along the way on the journey. And then my father just trying to give some comfort to my mom by just giving her some rest before we go on another 20-hour drive or something, and continuously just driving. I mean, it was like a picnic where at a certain point I started to feel like it's never going to end. I think we just keep on driving. I don't know where it's going to go. And along the way, I think the biggest thing that this whole journey made all of us feel is, the gratitude should be the attitude always. Always. Your gratitude should be your attitude, and always. And I think that was carried by everyone when they reached safely to the country. And I remember when we did enter in Pakistan back in the days, and this was something a lot of people were not even believing the fact that we just made it out alive. We were all alive and we made it out safe, because a lot of people couldn't make it. And people were surprised, and they were very shocked as well, because a lot of Pakistanis were still stuck over there and they couldn't make it. And a lot of families which were connected with them, they knew that it's not gonna be easy for their families who are still stuck over there. So when we reached here, it was totally a different life altogether for us. Again, as I mentioned, the struggle never ended for her. Let alone she was still going through that. She never complained. She never complained about anything. She never showed that one portion of her frustration ever. And all of us, we always thought that, hey, you know what? If she's calm and she's moving, it means we're going to make it. And the composure that she kept along the way, even when we came to this country and started living again, started living among our relatives and our grandparents' house and stuff. Again, a struggle is always there. I was asking my niece the other day that you go to school, and how many days you go to school and how many days are off. She said, I go 5 times in a week and 2 days are off. And I asked her, like, what do you do on your off days? She says, I just spend some time watching this and watching that and maybe playing with toys and stuff like that. I said, okay. And you don't have to do anything. You're just definitely not having any responsibility, of course, right? And she said, yeah. And I asked her one question that, did you ever ask your mom, is she having a day off?
Mm.
And she wanted to answer and she stopped. And she started to think.
Yeah.
And literally, I could see her eyes, like literally as if when your screen is just browsing and searching an answer and couldn't come up with an answer.
Mm.
And she literally said after a good 2 minutes, she said no, she doesn't have a day off.
Yeah. There's actually a study where they did a study on surgeons because apparently the work of a surgeon is 24/7. There was a research on it, and the research said that surgeons have the most stressful jobs out of all the jobs. And then there was another study done on the stress mums go through, especially new mothers with little children. And it showed that they had the same stress levels. Like the most hardest job in the world has the same stress levels as what mums go through with their children. And these things are not just something that you read and you put it on the side. This is actually a reflection of what we are talking about, that it's true, that science has even proven it, that the mental load a mother carries is far beyond than what we can even imagine. And the part that I literally look at now is that how can I, knowing what I know, create a balance for mothers where, of course, you can't just focus just completely on yourself or like completely on the children. There has to be a balance. And I think a big thing that comes to me, which I'm also writing about, is putting up your hand for support systems, or have some kind of sisterhood, or have some kind of a place where you can feel seen, heard, and understood, so you can let your mental load down for a little while, so you can refresh, regain, and come back to that space to be that powerful human you are. And the analogy of the battery, right? You know how the phone has a battery, and when the battery depletes, we put on the charger. But as mothers, I've seen this, and the research shows it too, that they can run on 1% or even 0% battery. And we all know how phones behave when we are running on 1% or 0% battery. It's like pushing it really hard and you're depleted. And it's enough to make a mother feel like she's a zombie. To have a son with whom she could speak to is beautiful. It's like God sent, because I can imagine a little bit from her point of view that she's kept it all inside, and then she's grown this son who is compassionate enough, is a person who is able to look beyond, or as some way of communicating to his mother to share what she went through. Because I feel that before this, that you spoke to her, nobody really asked, what did you feel, Mama? What did you feel, Mother? What was the feeling part of it, rather than what did you do, right? Nobody spoke to her heart. What were the points where your heartbeat was going tick, 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 and which was the part where your heartbeat was sinking? Which was the part where your heartbeat was calling out for help and you did not? And which was the part where your heart was saying, at any cost, I'm going to do this for my babies? You know, nobody talks to the woman about that part. And you did. You did. You had some kind of a space for her where she could talk from that space. So I think that's beautiful.
And Saleh, to be honest about it, I mean, the closest to her was my dad. And obviously she used to share each and everything. I remember, like, if I used to do this or that, or any of my siblings, they even used to like pick up something or anything that they used to do in their daily activities. Our dad was always being updated. Everything that she used to share. But at the same time, I think, considering the fact those times were really tough and she couldn't actually open up, I mean, everybody could see on her face, but obviously those times were really tough and hard. Again, it was the survival of the fittest, and everyone wanted to survive and reach back home safe. So, again, as you mentioned before, she literally became that rock and the driving force. And I think I why I used to actually take a lot of interest, because I knew my mom, she was always like this shy person who's not going to talk about it unless someone like myself would dive into the details and try to tap into those memories of mixed emotions and frustration that she went through, and the amount of energy that was consumed on a daily basis, and the amount of hope that she had, the strength that she wanted to literally give it out to her kids and to all the other families who were associated with us. And above all, like the strength that she wanted to give to my dad as well, so that he could keep on leading all the families, that convoy of 10 families, along with their men, into the right direction so that everyone could be safe. I mean, when you have responsibility of one family and that's your own kids, I think that's even heavy. And as you mentioned about that research on the stress levels, so now when I actually think about it, let's just say if there is like an example of if a family is invited at your place as a guest, and it takes a good amount of your energy and time of your whole day, right? Just by catering them and making them feel welcomed in each and every way.
Yeah.
So imagine like 10 families just showing up at your door at the same time, and you don't know how you're going to cater them or how you're going to welcome them.
Yeah.
It's just like uninvited guest, and then you don't know how to navigate. So, and it kept on, it didn't actually stop over there. So as we moved on, in the middle of the journey, I mean, from all the way from Kuwait to Pakistan, is the amount of families, they didn't actually lessen down. They kept on growing. So by the time we reached Pakistan, it was like almost 16 to 17 families with us, where they followed us all the way and reached out and they made it safely here. I think I was lucky enough, and thanks to God, that I was always interested in knowing that how she went through with those times. Because when you grow up as an adult, everyone has their own challenges and own war that we have to fight. And I felt I need to know that what she went through, and because now when I go through my obstacles of life, it gets really hard at certain points. And then I look back and I don't know where to get my strength from. So I literally wanted to know that how she managed and how she literally carried herself, kept her composure, kept that gratitude and being humble enough to not even her own family, not even her own kids, but taking care of kids of the other families as well, and considering their kids as her own. And only a mother can do that. And I feel blessed because of the fact that I got to know about such a woman in my life, that when I go through the obstacles and so many hard points and road blockages that I feel when I move on in my life, and I look back and I feel that strength coming out from her. And she was a woman of steel. That's how I would say. She never let her guard down. And she showed me the way that if you can't do any better for anyone, don't even actually do something that could actually harm them. But just keep your way and just be on your track. And if you fall down, don't worry. It's going to be another chance of you getting up and keep on moving. And the best part that I loved about her was she was always about, I'm going to get this done now. I'm not going to wait. So that attitude that she had naturally, that anything that used to come in her way, she used to be like, I'm going to get it done now or never. So that attitude literally showed us that even the biggest challenges, be it like mental health or any of that sort, that can be cured, that can be taken care of. It's just that if someone like her is putting so much effort in anyone's life, then where do we stand in at least accepting and trying where we fail and just keep on trying until we win that? And this actually brings me to this famous line that a winner is a loser who tried one more time. And I think I am that. With me, it's every day. And now when I feel she's not here, but I do understand that it's very important that I keep on remembering what she used to tell me. And I'm blessed with the fact that she used to tell me every day, she used to literally advise me every day that, listen, everyone is going to leave you. And that's how it is. That's how life is. But I just want to make sure that you need to have a trust and belief and faith that God will never leave you alone. So that made my faith more strong. And I feel that anyone out there who's listening, trust me, if you feel that you're alone and everyone is going to leave you, and that's how life is, just have a faith in the fact that God is never going to leave you alone. He's always going to be with you. Let alone if anyone else wants to leave you, that's fine. They want to go on their journey of life, that's fine. But you're not alone because He's always with you. He's never going to leave you alone.
Yeah. And I also believe that through God, you're always connected with your mother and all your loved ones that leave the world. I think also in my understanding of where I stand today, after listening to your story too, what's coming to me is that as humans, we are all connected at all times. The whole human tribe, we're also connected to the earth, and we're all connected to every living thing, from the sea animals to the birds that fly. And if we let go of the idea of that after death, then we will understand this and try to understand things while we're alive as much as we can, because being alive is a gift, and we all realize it when we see how this gift can be taken away very easily. To take it as a gift and to live fully on this planet in ways of leaving an impact or whatever we feel a calling towards, to go to our calling, whether it's a passion, whether it's a dream, whether it's to know more about ourselves or to learn something new, that keeps us in a life force energy, because you're not just here to be just alive. You're here to know the spectrum of you. It's okay to make mistakes on the way. It's okay to slow down when you can't move. In your story, what's coming forward to me is the idea that I want to put forward here, and it's that your mother chose survival. She chose to survive it all. And survival is an energy that is needed. It is needed when there is a war and all those kind of situations happening around you where there is no control and there is a huge amount of uncertainty and you've been put on the driving seat. Then survival becomes the ultimate pursuit. So there's an analogy of surviving, and the step forward from that is thriving. And to say that she herself survived, and what's coming for you, I feel, is, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is that she left you in a state of thriving. Resilience, is the ability to hold on to things longer. And what people don't talk about is grit. Grit is the ability to bounce back. So I love that now the listeners and viewers can also see themselves in your mother and or if they have some relative who's been through that, or their own parents. There's so many people who go through these migration stories, people who go through leaving a certain comfortable space and going into the uncomfortable, uncertain places. It's just the idea that we need to see ourselves in other humans and learn from it and be inspired from them. I feel your mother is a beautiful role model to learn from, to see through the eyes of. As mothers, see that if she can do it, we can do it. And the gratitude part of it is a big, big key factor, because that keeps you in the attitude of surviving and thriving and moving forward. Because in the end, I do feel that we need to push each other and say, okay, keep going. Empathy says, I will sit with you. I will listen to you. I will keep quiet if I need to. But I am going to be that anchor where you can say it all. And I'm going to tell you, keep going. You're doing well. Right? We need that kind of a space. What do you think?
No, absolutely, 100%. You said it. You said it so right, and I think you explained it with a lot of clarity for a lot of people who might be listening this. So this is my perspective. When a woman actually becomes a mother, it kind of completes her, and then there's a new chapter of winning a life for her kid, living it for him or her. And in that process, I feel that they started losing themselves in terms of their health or be it anything. Just to give everything. Every parent actually wishes that whatever they never used to get in their life, they want to provide each and everything to their kids. And I feel like that in the process, kids try going into a direction where they start taking advantage of that. And I actually say it because I see it around me. And then when they try to skim that comfort out of their routine, then it gets a little hard for them. I feel that we can literally learn from our parents. And fun fact again, that I remember when they used to tell me to do something that I never used to do, and they used to literally advise me in a way that, hey, you got to do this. If you won't do this, it's not going to have a good impact on you. And trust me, now when I look back, everything that they used to say or tell me to do, which I never did, I am doing all of that now. So if kids actually have an understanding that how hard it is for their father to be the breadwinner and the provider of the family and to be that hero, and how hard it is for a mother to starting from having no off days to the point where she eventually leaves the planet, she leaves the life and meets her creator. Till that point, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's a non-stop struggle. It never has any, no breaks, nothing like that. And it's a constant struggle that she does. And so is the father. I feel like parents literally need to, and it comes off as me being an individual, just saying that, and I feel it because I see it around me. And our parents actually did that. They provided us everything, but at the same time, they made sure that we could be prepared for what it's coming for us, as we move on in life. Saliha, here's the thing. We're going to be in those spots or places where we're not going to be having them anymore. And we as kid, always getting back to them and asking them and explaining them that, hey, this is a situation and I need to make a decision, so please advise me. and having a suggestion or helping in your decisions coming off from their wisdom. At some point in life, we got to do it by ourselves. And as long as they're actually here with us, I think we are blessed to have them, not to take their existence for granted. Just having conversations and just interacting with them, even when they're in their old age. And I see, with a heavy heart, I see a lot of kids just ignoring their parents. And it's really sad to see that. Because when I see that, and when they talk to their parents as if they owe them nothing, breaks my heart. It's heart-wrenching because, and then I ask them that if you don't know the value of your parents in your life at the moment, you should ask from someone who doesn't have them anymore. And you will definitely understand the value of it. And you will definitely see, but you are completely blindsided at the moment and 100% distracted with the worldly life that you have. It's a beautiful bond, and I feel both the mother and father, they play a huge role in a kid's life. But celebrating a mother's life is something that I think needs to be heard.
More
And
and more.
it should be, and it should be on a regular basis,
Yes.
because a lot of women that I see now who feel that they're helpless and
Yes.
they cannot do anything, trust me, they're actually the base and the foundation of any family to grow ahead.
I love the story of your mother. I think there's a big, big model in there for us to see that anything is possible, that you can survive even war, that you can do what you set your heart to, and that if you do keep it inside for a reason, it's because you believe that it's for the better of the family. That is also a way of doing it. And that she did realize later on that sharing was a good way too. And she had her son for that. I think that's a beautiful part of the story. So thank you for sharing that. If you don't mind, right now, Moien, I'll get into a beautiful part, which is a gratitude to you for being here and joining us on the podcast. In the old days, as you remember, on episode 8 where you were, we used to do a card pulling gratitude, which was from my Power Thought Cards deck by Louise Hay. And they're all powerful thoughts that come up for what falls in sync for you. So close your eyes, Moien, hand on heart, and we're going to do a little prayer. Dear universe, show us what Moien needs to hear today. Whatever is important for him to hear, what is the message he needs to hear today for him to move forward and become the amazing human that he is, so that he can be fully connected with all he is and immersed into the beautiful new version of him in 2025. What is the message Moien needs to hear today? And the message for you is, I trust my inner wisdom. I trust my inner wisdom, and there's a beautiful woman in there too. I'll send you a picture. She's got this scarf around her neck too, and she has got flowers in her hand. And behind that is a bigger message which says, as I go about my daily affairs, I listen to my own guidance. My intuition is always on my side. I trust it to be there at all times. I am safe. And it's surrounded by yellow and orange flowers. So I hope that resonated.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you so much. That was really moving, a bit of emotional, because my mom used to wear a scarf as well. And it's something that I wasn't expecting, but thank you so much for making me a part of this, because I think a lot of other stuff that I couldn't touch base today, but I feel like with this message, I'm always looking forward for that inner wisdom. Trust me when I say this inner wisdom actually is because of her. While growing up, she guided us in a way that just keeping yourself in the direction of whatever you want to achieve, and it's possible. And the biggest thing that I want to say in the last is that if God is out of the equation of your life, you'll be just running in circles.
Or floating. Floating.
Yeah, just floating.
Yeah.
So keep God in the equation of your life, and have faith that, if today is not your day, tomorrow will be.
Yeah. Yeah. And your mother had faith. Faith.
Absolutely.
I feel like we can have another podcast about how faith keeps us going and how, God helps us in miraculous ways. And when you open your eyes toward how your life shifts the course, when you realize all this time, it was God,
Absolutely.
Who am I to think I did it? God did it, God's plan. I will end the podcast here and hope to have you back in 2025. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you.